Hi, I'm Hector Kolonas, one of the co-founders here at Syncaroo, and this is a Syncaroo Geek Out, where we speak to the leaders of IT teams, operation teams, some of the best brands you know, and figure out why they brought Syncaroo in to help, what the world would have looked like before, and what the world now looks like with a more integrated and streamlined tech stack. Here's our conversation with Ben Northrop from Workbox. Ben, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
I know there's a lot of really interesting things happening at Workbox right now. There's a lot of kind of very geeky things we could dig into. But what I really want to dive into is over the last couple of months, our teams have been working really closely together on one particular part of your business. Can you just tell us a little bit more about what you brought Syncaroo in to help you with?
Yeah, so as we started to scale, we realized that we needed some help kind of on our network management side. So we actually brought in a vendor called essensys, and we found that there was a lot of work that needed to be done to onboard members, offboard members from our community team. And what we were looking to do was streamline and automate that from their normal processes of onboarding them within OfficeRnD and then having that integrate with essensys. So that's when we approached Syncaroo to work through that and find the best way to make that simple and take all of the manual work off the community team's hands.
Let's dig a little bit into if Syncaroo hadn't been able to fix this, what would the day-to-day process be like? Where are those pain points that just needed to be fixed?
Yeah, so it's definitely mostly on the onboarding side. When you bring a member into a census, it's adding the company, it's adding each individual employee of that member company, and then also adding additional services that they may need. So for each member, depending on the size of the company, it could be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes of additional work that they would have to do every single time. So this takes that off of their plate and also just simplifies it. One less tool they have to fully learn.
So either you would have had to train your sales team or your onboarding community team how to use a census, or they would have probably sent an IT ticket, right? And been like, hey, stop doing anything else that you're doing. This new customer needs something. And that could have just caused chaos for both the IT team and the relationship with that customer. Let's talk a little bit more about, obviously there's a lot of choices for how you can get through to an integration. You can hire a dev, you can go, put this on the open market, put it on an RFP. But luckily you found us and you started working with us. What was the key reason for picking Syncaroo out of all the ways you could have connected these systems?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest driving factors was Syncaroo's familiarity with coworking. I think just there are certain pieces to Office R&D that I don't think we even fully understood. And I think just having you guys come in and be able to work with us and find these nuances of everybody's process is different, but finding those within Office R&D and then making it work seamlessly with a census, I think it was an easy decision where going to just a third party developer, we would have to explain everything and all of that extra time adds up when it comes to those things.
Love that. And yet, I mean, we are absolute flex space geeks and we love working with brands like yours. Okay, so you chose Syncaroo. We went through the proposal process. We said, yes, let's do this. What did that process look like? How was it working with our team from day one until pilot?
What I enjoyed the most, I think, was just the amount of communication. I think there was just beginning from end, it was like, here's exactly how we're going to do it. And then as things came up and as things changed, Robert was always in touch with us and always saying, hey, here's something else I found. And it wasn't even things that we were necessarily thinking about or looking for, but he recognized and came to us and said, this is how I want to work through it. And these are the things that I think it'll make better or simplify. So just that constant communication, I think, when working through things like this is vital. We were bringing in members of the community team, our chief of staff, and those things that maybe don't have that technical background, but you guys were able to explain it in the terms of the process and the terms of the tools that they're familiar with. And it found other ways that we could use it and integrate it and make it simpler. So I think it just having that ability to communicate with maybe non-technical people as well was very important for us.
So we went through the process, we got you ready, you did a pilot, because I know that can be one of the most stressful things for, IT departments. This is now going into something where there's real people, real businesses. How was the pilot process?
It was really good. I think the thing that I appreciated was we were able to do a dry run without actually making any changes. So we noticed that there were going to be 2 or 3 members that were going to be wiped out and have to be rebuilt. So we were able to really think through that and like, okay, let's do it this way and at this time so we can communicate with those members if they're going to be affected. It was vital to the whole process, but it really did open up some eyes too of just like, okay, there's a lot more to this than maybe we originally thought. And I think it just helped us kind of think of it as a larger scale. I know we were opening locations as this was all happening. So it was just all of these moving parts coming into it. And, it was good to have an active location before we did it everywhere. But then also we knew when we turned it on for our newest location that it was going to work and we didn't have any of these other bugs that we'd kind of already seen.
Right now, you're using the integration and essensys and OfficeRnD across all your locations. How many locations is that?
So 12.
12 locations.
Yeah, and we're using it everywhere, yeah.
That's awesome. And so we've talked about kind of what the world would have looked like without this. We talked about the process of getting it set up. Now, what is the onboarding process? What happens?
Yeah, so they basically through the community manager's normal process where they gather the information, they put it into OfficeRnD, and then within minutes, it's all synced into Essensys. And with that, the triggers of the emails with their Wi-Fi credentials and all of those things, it's just automatically happening. The thing I keep going back to is it's simple. For the community managers, it's very simple for them to do. They don't have to change anything that they were already doing. It is a nice feature set for us on the tech side to have and then as the sales business side, but it doesn't affect the day-to-day of the community, which was a very important thing.
And I know that one of the things we discussed early on was the fact that often community managers are the first point of contact. I want to upgrade my Wi-Fi, I want extra bandwidth, I want a dedicated IP, whatever it is. That can be now done through OfficeRnD. They don't need to submit IT tickets for upselling. They can just add an extra package. Has that been as helpful in the organization as you had expected initially?
Yeah, I think it's probably been most impactful for me. I think it's just one less thing that me and my team have to do. It was a 20-minute training of like, here's 3 or 4 things that the members are going to approach you for. You update the plan in OfficeRnD, give it 10 to 15 minutes, and then they'll have their dedicated bandwidth, so public IP, whatever additional service they're looking for, and they can do it, set it and forget it, and then go back to what they were doing. I think for the biggest thing, it's the time. They are very busy. Their focus is the community, as it should be. And if we can save 2-3 hours a month, I think that's significant in their days. I think time is significant.
Of course, and time is very, very important. Talking a little bit more about protecting your team's time. A big part of the integrations that we build is they're all managed. So it's not just we build something and we give it to you. Increasingly, and as you've run through pilots and expanded this out across your network, our team is constantly making sure that things are still working, notifying you if there's issues. Has that been a benefit to be able to know that this part is being looked after? Or is it something that still keeps you up at night?
No, I mean, that's where, like, there's things where Robert has reached out to me and just said, hey, we noticed as somebody was provisioning this, it failed here, or like, this is a bug that we noticed, or whatever it may have been. And by the time he's even reaching out, he's like, here's the fix, or we've already fixed it. So it's like, I didn't even know something was happening. And by the time I do, it's already fixed. So, I mean, that's huge. I think is, going back to saying of one of the reasons we chose you guys is to have that managed and just kind of the trust we have with you guys to take care of it.
We appreciate your trust, and it's just been amazing to watch you grow. So bringing it all home, you're in a room filled with the smartest IT and ops people in co-working. Do you recommend that they use Syncaroo for this integration or any integrations?
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to your knowledge of the co-working industry, I think this has been vital for us, but I think there's other stuff that we've even talked about, like of the third-party booking and all of those things that we have these headaches that we're working through. You guys had a really good process of gathering all the information, and there were things that came up after the fact, and even those pivots of when we were figuring out our own nuances of the systems. You guys were super flexible, and it made it very easy to work with and a very enjoyable experience for us. So I would absolutely recommend you guys.